The clock is ticking, and the countdown continues. It's 27 days to the elections, and there is no looking back by the actors who have placed their hands on the plow. The race for various positions in public office continues, and there is no shortage of promises from the candidates of the different political parties. Now, should the politicians be allowed to just make promises, even if they sound unrealistic? Good evening, and welcome to Nigeria 2015. I am Neota Igbe. As the politicians continue to woo the electorate, the words are flowing, and some have continued as if there is, without any clear-cut lines in the manifesto of these political parties. In the First Republic, major political parties like the Action Group, Northern People's Congress, the National Council of Nigerian Citizens had clear-cut ideologies which they pursued. The same was the situation in the Second Republic. In the Third Republic, where the country experimented a two-party system, having the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and the National Republican Convention, NRC, there appeared to be a clear-cut distinction in policies and ideologies. Political analysts and historians posited that it was the last time political parties operated along ideological lines. The challenge of our time is, however, altogether, or would you say is any different today? Virtually all the political parties lay claim to one form of liberalism or the other. The leading political parties that appear to be pushing forth their purposes are the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress. Other platforms like the Social Democratic Party, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, and the Labour Party that seem to be having some level of representation at regional levels appear not to have done much to increase the visibility of their manifesto. But reading the argument on both sides seems to give credence to what the former Senate President, Dr. Chua Kadigbo, once said when he was asked about the existence of ideologically driven political parties in Nigeria. His answer? What we have in Nigeria are rallies and not parties. So, on what ideologies are the promises made based? How realistic are some of these promises? Promises or not, the voters appear more concerned about collecting their permanent voter cards. But would they eventually begin to look at the ideologies of these parties and their promises? How would it pan out at the end of the day? We will put those questions to our panel tonight. We'll also hear from some of our correspondents from across the country who bring us up to date on what's happening where they are. For you, our web team provides several platforms for you to participate and get your voice heard on the program. You can tweet at us using the hashtag Nigeria 2015. Please use the Twitter handle at the bottom of the screen, at Channels TV and at Neota Igbe. If you have comments or questions, do send us an email, nigeria2015@channelstv.com. Joining us tonight, Jide Namandio, who's a PDP ex-officio member, and Shey Oduton, APC member, also in the studio. Later on in the course of the program, Kazim Gaidam, the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Gombe State, will also join us via telephone to bring us up to speed on the PVC distribution in Gombe State. Today, we focus on the manifesto of two leading political parties. What are the promises they have made? Are they realistic? Let's see some of the things that they have talked about, or some of the things they are positing to do for Nigerians and the Nigerian citizen. The two political parties, leading political parties, have all said they will do one thing. They will focus, their core commitment is Nigeria. They will fight corruption. They will work on the economy and education. They've said they'll work on health and agriculture and security. These two parties represented here in the studio today have made certain promises on these 7 areas of the Nigerian space. How effective would they be? Staying with this matter of manifesto, now created, some of them, in creating the different political parties, they had reasons why they formed the various political parties. Let's see what the All Progressives Congress had to say why they had to form the APC. I guess we'll get to see those slides later on. But the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress says at a certain point in time in Nigeria, there was a need for a sense of leadership. According to him, the youths are becoming agitated and they had to do something. They had to mobilize to form the APC to provide the needed leadership. Now, one of the leaders of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, also had something to say about why the APC was formed. According to him, a new Nigeria means having a government that will handle issues of underdevelopment and unemployment, poverty and underdevelopment. That's why, according to them, that's why the APC was formed. But let's see what the PDP had to say as regards the formation of the People's Democratic Party. They said the founding fathers of the PDP had their eyes set on specific goals, which is the indivisibility of the Nigerian nation. And then the president, who is also the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, says that the 2015 election is about the youth. So, coming back to the studio here, or just before we get to our discussion today, let's hear some of the things that they have had to say, the presidential candidate of the APC and that of the People's Democratic Party. Let's hear some of the things they've had to say about the manifestos and the 2015 elections.
I've said you have to vote for your liberation or you have to vote for your imprisonment. Some group of people came, and I read it in the papers. When they see people in government, maybe governors, ministers, commissioners, and so on, who are holding offices, they say we will draw a line. We are not probing the past, because they want to deceive them to support them. So they say they will draw a line. They will start fighting corruption after they cross the bridge. And only 2 days ago, somebody stood in Port Harcourt and said he was going to cast people in the street and throw them to Kirikiri. The same mount say something from the right, from the left, and from the right. Contradicting statements. Can you trust those people? No. Are they not deceiving you? Yes. And this sense,
after 16 years, we are regretting. We don't want insult to be added to injury.
So now that you've heard from the APC and PDP presidential candidates, let's hear what my panelists in the studio would have to say as regards the manifesto of their parties. Now, mark this. We're looking at the APC and PDP today. Tomorrow, we might be looking at the other political parties. So let's begin with you. Your parties have, the two parties have posited 7 points, basically. One of the major things that both the PDP and the APC have said they're going to tackle is corruption. But Nigerians, I deliberately did not go into how you want to tackle corruption, because many will say nobody has said how. So let's come back here and I begin with us here in the studio.